Good afternoon, everyone. I see everybody's here. My name is Blair Lancaster. I'm a councillor for Ward 6, and I'll be chairing the meeting today. In the event of an emergency, we ask you to evacuate this room by the nearest exit staircase, which is located through the doorway marked exit, and follow all instructions given by the clerk. If assistance is required, please see the clerk, and once you've evacuated the building, please gather in Civic Square outside. I'd like to thank both the media and the public for attending today's meeting, and just a reminder that the City of Burlington Committee and Council meetings are live, webcasted, and archived on the City website. I want to remind you that we do have rules of engagement, and we ask that everyone be respectful while others are speaking. We do not permit clapping, cheering, laughing, heckling in any form of or demonstration, and we ask everyone to listen respectfully as you would want to be listened to. A reminder to committee members to adhere to the procedural bylaw and limit your questions to 2 at a time. And we're not making decisions today at this afternoon's meeting, only recommendations, which will go to City Council for final approval on November the 12th. Except for one item, item 4.2, regarding the removal of 357 Torrance Street from the Municipal Register of Cultural Heritage Resources. We will have a special council meeting for this item immediately following this afternoon's Committee of the Whole meeting. And now I'd like to introduce my colleagues. Beside me is Councillor Paul Sharman, who's Vice Chair of this committee, Councillor Rick Craven, Councillor Marianne Mead Ward, Councillor John Taylor, Councillor Jack Dennison, and Mayor Rick Goldring. Now I'll turn it over to Mary Lou Tanner, Deputy City Manager, to introduce the staff who are with us today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In addition to myself, from the Burlington Leadership Team, we have Chris Glenn, Director of Parks and Recreation, Alan Maggie, Executive Director of Capital Works, Laura Boyd, Director of Human Resources, Heather McDonald, Chief Planner and Director of the Department of City Building, and I'm missing somebody. Oh, Nancy Shea-Nicol, City Solicitor, I believe Mary Battaglia, Director of Roads, Parks and Forestry is here, as well as Quab Eko-Ajay, who handles our government relations and communications.
Thank you very much for that. I'd now like to continue with a land acknowledgement. Burlington as we know it today is rich in history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis. From the Anishinaabe to the Haudenosaunee and the Métis, our lands spanning from Lake Ontario to Niagara Escarpment are steeped in Indigenous history. The territory is mutually covered by the Dish with One Spoon, Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and the Ojibwe and other allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is part of the treaty lands and the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. And now I'd like to ask if there are any declarations of interest. Being none, we'll move on. We do have 2 registered delegations that we'll be hearing from when we get to those items on the regular agenda. There are no consent items, so we'll go directly to the regular items, beginning with item 4.1, which is the Santa 5K road race. And we do have a delegation, Buzz Johnson from VRPro, if you'd like to join us, Buzz.
Good afternoon, Sydney. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Can you hear me okay? Yes, sorry. My name is Buzz Johnson. I am here to represent VRPro today. Unfortunately, Kelly Arnott could not attend, so I hope I can adequately answer any questions that you may have around the Santa 5K.
Buzz, just to interrupt you, if you can just speak a little closely into the microphone, that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you okay if I proceed just with a short blurb? Thank you. As I mentioned, I'm the marketing manager at VRPro for the Santa 5K race. We're really proud to have created Canada's first and largest 5K all Santa race here in Burlington and continue to run the race in Burlington and bring the race to Burlington. We're really happy with the survey results, the community recommendations for the 2019 Santa 5K. There were 2,400 or more responses, and the consensus was that the race should be held on a Saturday in December, starting before 9 a.m. We were already asked by the city, by the events department, to look at having our Santa 5K in Burlington on the 14th of December, so that it doesn't conflict with the Santa Claus Parade that will be on the 8th of December in 2019. And we had obliged, very happy to accommodate. Excuse me. The Santa 5K route is an out and back route, starting at City Hall, down Brant, along Lakeshore, past the hospital and back. Because this is an out and back race, the race will begin tear down once our slowest or last walker or runner reaches that turnaround point, meaning the roads will then begin to open up again. We anticipate our absolute slowest, sorry to say it, slowest entrant to complete the course in around 90 minutes. This means at 45-minute mark, we will begin that tear down of the course. And in terms of impacts on the road closures, the whole thing will be over before 10:30 a.m. We're excited to already have 1,000 entrants in this year's Burlington Santa 5K, coming from, we've got people from Ottawa, Texas, 9 people from the Yukon, 2 people from Arizona, Alberta, BC, 1 person's even coming from Germany, which is really exciting. We hope to get as many as 3,000 family members on race day entering in the event. CH is our title sponsor for 2018 and will be airing 70 commercials between the 17th of November and the 12th of December, promoting Burlington with actual footage of previous years, displaying the beauty of the city, the fantastic fun that the community has at the race. And we also have a campaign in The Spectator with 10 half-page ads promoting the race and the sponsors of the race and inviting people to come to Burlington to enjoy it. Past coverage has included CBS, Global TV and City TV. These are not paid advertising. These are those networks recognising what a great event it is and a great day in Burlington, and they cover this event to raise more awareness for Burlington tourism and visitors. We currently only have 2 races in downtown Burlington, the Santa 5K on a Saturday and the Chili Half Marathon on a Sunday in March. We used to have 4 races that ran through the downtown and impacted road closures. We're just down to 2. In the coming weeks, we do hope to be approaching local businesses in Burlington to invite them to be involved in the day, to tell them about the event, how they can benefit from the influx of possibly 3,000 people attending the event, and seeing what we can do to help those retailers benefit from the day as well. A lot of people do feel that the Santa 5K is the beginning of the Christmas season. It's a fantastic event. It encourages people to get out and be active in Burlington. After the race, the town's buzzing in cafes, in restaurants, and we hope in stores as well, with our 3,000 Santas full of endorphins and hopefully out spending their money and enjoying themselves. So just once again, I'd just like to say that we are in support of the recommendations of the survey, and thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much for your delegation. If you can just wait there for a second, we do have some questions for you.
Thank you.
Beginning with Councillor Dennison.
Thank you very much for your delegation.
Thank you.
Are you aware that we did receive a letter from the Downtown Business Association asking to have the decision deferred?
I was not aware, sorry.
Okay.
When was this letter received?
It's dated Friday, November 2nd.
Okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't aware.
I'll give you the 3 highlights here.
Thank you.
The Business Association believes that the results of the survey, including the staff report, should be a factor in deciding a fixed date for the race in future years. Yet we do not believe it should be the sole factor. They go on to say a finer grain of detail regarding responses from the downtown business owners to the Santa 5K survey. So they're asking for more detail of the specific business responses. Would be useful. And they also say they wanted to meet with the member merchants, wanted to meet one-on-one with reps from VRPro to discuss the matter. And they think that would premature approval would be negative towards that. I'll give you a copy of that. Do you have any thoughts on yours or Kelly's concern with potentially having the date changed?
It's my understanding, if I may.
Sure.
It's my understanding that all parties had the opportunity to weigh in on the questions of the survey, had the opportunity to promote and market the survey, and I imagine the business owners that they're seeking further information from had the same opportunity to complete the survey. So I would be confused as to why further information would be required.
I want you to be able to respond to the letter since you hadn't already received
Thank
it.
you. I appreciate that. Yeah. If I may, obviously VRPro, as I said, had an opportunity to weigh in on the content of the survey, and we had an opportunity to promote and get the survey out to get as many responses to create an accurate response to the survey, and we would have accepted the recommendations from the city based on the survey. So I pose a sense of confusion as to why the businesses wouldn't do the same.
Councillor Mead-Ward.
Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. I have a number of questions, but I'll just start with my two.
Thank you.
Just picking up on the earlier dialogue, the business community actually hasn't had a chance to sit down directly with VRPro throughout this process. So I guess my first question to you is, are you willing to actually sit down and discuss with them and hear from them their concerns?
I think we've heard the concerns through the July meeting. We obviously, as you mentioned, this is webcast and archived, and VRPro has obviously seen the meeting from July this year. We heard the comments, we had the packet. I think likewise the business owners have received our concerns, the loss of income due to the race moving outside of the festive season. I think it's an interesting thing to have watched a committee meeting continue for 2.5 hours. I must say I grabbed a bit of popcorn at home and enjoyed the show. It was quite a good discussion, I suppose. And I feel like the discussion has been had, and it was, I think, felt amongst the councillors that the discussion should cease and a decision be made, and we support the results of the survey. And hope that will be the decision.
Okay, I thought I heard you say in your remarks that you wanted to meet with the businesses, but you don't. I guess that's what we're hearing. You don't want to meet with them?
I'm sorry, I might have misspoke. I don't have an intent to. I think the survey has reflected the community recommendation.
So you've said that there would be a loss of income to the race for having it in November. The businesses have very clearly demonstrated that there would be a loss of business to them, and they are tax-paying, dues-paying, BDBA fee-paying members of the downtown. So in a sense, what we're being asked to do is choose a winner. Who's going to lose, I guess, the least amount of income here? And I'm just wondering your thoughts about how we choose between our businesses losing a significant amount of revenue versus a one-time event.
Another business, yeah. Well, I mean, our event, we're saying, will be over by 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning to represent the financial results of the move to November. Was a loss of, I think, 500 entrants, a significant loss to the event. I can't speak to whether it then becomes a feasible event to conduct or not. If we are talking about 3,000 entrants, it's a significant number of our entrants to lose 500. I think it's, we acknowledge that our event has an impact on the city, and we appreciate the city, and we're trying to show it off, bring tourism, bring people to enjoy the space. We're saying the event would be torn down by 10:30 a.m. I'm not sure the sales that are conducted between the morning and 10:30 a.m. in those businesses. I'm not sure it would be 500 entrants. I can't speak to it. We don't have those statistics, so.
The businesses would be happy to meet with you and provide that information.
Mayor Goldring.
Yes, thank you very much for being here. You're saying there's 1,000 people registered already, and you're hoping to have 3,000, and that's in 4 or 5 weeks. Does it really fill up at the end like that? Because I'm puzzled by only having 1,000 entrants registered at this time.
To date.
And I'm just wondering if all the confusion or the controversy surrounding the date has caused a slowdown in registrants.
I can't speak to that, sorry, Mayor, but I can speak to that we are in a community of last-minute doers. We do get a lot of entrants in the 2-3 weeks prior to the races, and that is due to our marketing, it's due to our campaigning, it's due to our discounts that we offer and the encouragement of people to come downtown. We don't survey everyone to figure out why they register at the point that they register. I do know we do have a number that may not attend on the day due to weather, but that doesn't seem to affect our registrations.
So you're not concerned about the number of 1,000 right now? That's sort of somewhat typical to only have, say, 40% of the registrants registered 5 weeks before.
Absolutely. So
okay, thank you.
Sorry, as I mentioned, our main marketing campaign is about to begin with TV ads going out the 17th till the 12th of December. So we've got to push on. Our current marketing campaign is on social media. Now we're pushing to television. The Spectator ads went out last week. This is the home run.
I don't have anyone else listed on my list. No more questions? Councillor Mead-Ward.
Thank you. I think just 2 more, but we'll see how it goes. So I understand you do a race in Hamilton in the last week in November.
The 25th of November, yes.
So that works for you to do it in November, a Santa Claus race in a neighbouring community?
I imagine our preference would be on December. I haven't researched the detail around that because obviously I was presenting for Burlington today. And when I came on as staff for VRPro, the date was set. So I can't answer that beyond that the date was set.
I think certainly our members would love to switch that and let Hamilton do it in December and us in November. My question for you now is around parking, because that seems to be one of the biggest impacts. It's not so much, I mean, the road closures are one impact, but having that influx of folks coming in, we only have a little over 1,000 municipal parking spaces in the downtown that are intended for our commercial properties. And if we have 3,000 folks coming in, and they may stay parked all day, so customers actually can't get to it. They can drive on the roads after 10:30, but they actually can't get downtown and use the municipal supply that's intended for everybody. So what arrangements have you made to encourage people not to drive downtown and use up the municipal supply before the stores even open?
It's an interesting point. So I will say for 2018 so far, 24% of our registered entrants are residents of Burlington. So I can't say how they commute into town, whether they're walking, they're driving, or how they're getting to the race. We promote Go Transport from Toronto. We have a large percentage, and we are marketing quite a bit to bring people from the city down. And we do speak in our campaigns about using public transit where possible. In terms of clearance of car parks, I mean, I'd love it if there was a statistic. It sounds like an anecdotal sort of comment. I can't speak to a comment such as that.
Certainly the businesses could, if you would meet with them, they would provide the data. We do have pucks in all of our municipal lots now and counters, so we know the uptake and we know the timing, so that information can be provided for you. So you don't provide shuttles, is I guess what I'm hearing. Some organizers, when they're bringing in thousands of people, do shuttle from other places and encourage their people not to drive downtown.
Yeah, it is something that we do for our Chile Half Marathon, and it is something that people take part in for the Chile. We haven't done for the Santa 5K.
Any further questions? Jack Tennyson?
Just wanted to make sure that you are aware that your date for 2019 is secure.
I wasn't aware. Sorry.
And this report is really talking about 2020 forward, because the way the recommendation reads,
Thank you.
Council decided to allow the race to occur this year on the second Saturday of December. So that's already been done.
Sorry, yes, I was
Okay,
aware.
so
of
this is
19 we're looking at.
2018, so 2019 is the one that's up for discussion.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, I am aware of that, and I'm sure, like the city is too, we'd love to get something established ongoing so that we can be planning, forward planning for
Understand.
up to 3 years would be ideal.
Yeah, okay.
Councillor Mead-Ward?
Sorry, last question. I thought I heard you say, just picking up on that in your opening remarks, that you've been talking to staff already about December 14, 2019. Is that correct? To avoid, I think you said, to avoid the Santa Claus parade. So is that a date that is being bandied about right now?
Yes, so that's the information I've been provided. It's on an email trail somewhere. It wasn't directed at me, but it's one I've read, to say that we were asked by the city's events department to accommodate the Santa Claus parade being held on the 8th of December. So the preference would be that we would be having our Santa 5K prior to 9 a.m. start on the 14th of December, torn down by 10:30 a.m.
What's your understanding of what prior to 9 a.m. start means?
Just what was in the recommendation, that the idea was that the community suggested that prior to 9 a.m. would be preferred.
So 8 o'clock is prior to 9 a.m.?
By my watch, yes.
Okay.
Look, prior to 9 a.m. says to me, if we conducted the race at 8:45 and were completed by 10:30, that would fit the community recommendation.
So is that what you're contemplating, as a 8:45 start? I'm just asking what the understanding is of. I will ask staff as well, but
Sure.
I'm asking what your understanding of what that means.
Yeah, my understanding was any minute prior to 9 a.m. would be an acceptable start time.
Okay.
Any further questions of the delegation? Thank you very much for joining us, Buzz. Really appreciate your comments.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
So, Council, what is your wish? Would you like to proceed with this? No, not on my list. We have correspondence. There is correspondence from Brian Dean, but no one is listed as a delegation. So do we go to questions for staff? Okay. Who would like to go first? Councillor Mead-Ward.
Welcome. I have two questions. And I did hear from some folk. That's distracting, isn't it? Sorry, I'll talk louder. I did hear from some folks who were able to fill out the survey if they had wanted to more than one time. So what were the controls around two items? One, to ensure that residents, when they checked that box, that they actually were residents. And then the second control around multiple responses, what prevented people from filling it out multiple times?
Through you, Madam Chair. So we had some discussions with the BDBA as well as VRPro about how we frame the survey. And currently, you have to be registered and be a resident to do a closed survey. And in discussions, we said, let's open it up. So the controls, there were no controls. Anybody could register and sign in, whether they were a resident or not. Listening to both VRPro and BDBA, they were okay with the non-residents responding to the survey, and that was the only way we can do it in the current platform. So we're using the honor system that most people are not filling out multiple times.
So honor system on that if they checked resident, they were a resident, and honor system that they didn't fill it out more than one time.
Correct.
Okay. The recommendation for a before 9 a.m. start, What is your understanding of what that means? Is that 8 a.m.? Is that 7:30? Is that 8:30? What is before 9?
I would personally, holistically go on a half hour, so 8:30 would be the ideal.
It's okay, someone's already gone, Alan. Further questions of staff? Mayor Goldring?
So how many years has the Santa 5K been happening in downtown Burlington?
Around 20,
And how many years has it been in November?
once.
Thank you.
I'll go then if there's no other questions. Just with regard to the consultation that was done with the stores in the downtown, I'm just wondering if you could speak to that, because I know this has been an ongoing issue for quite some time, and what would be the expectation out of a survey that they would respond?
I'm not sure if I understand the question, so if you could say it again.
So my concern is there was an indicator or a red flag for me that perhaps the store owners in the downtown have not been communicated to, or there was a suggestion that we need more communication with those folks in the downtown. But my recollection of this process is such that we've had a lot of communication with the people in the downtown. So I'm wondering, is there something we missed? Is there something more we could have done? Are you satisfied that we received appropriate responses from members in the downtown?
To you, Madam Chair, I believe we received appropriate responses. I think people in the downtown had the opportunity to respond to the survey. Could we do more? I think the BDBA has asked on a number of occasions to meet with VRPro Director Kelly Arnott a few times. There is a bit of a conflict there that both parties are not coming to the table maybe as much as or as well as we could. We have tried to do that a few times, the staff, mitigate or negotiate between both parties at the table, but fundamentally they have opposing views.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any further questions? Councillor Mead-Ward.
Was there an opportunity for people to leave comments on the survey? And can those be provided to us? They weren't part of the report.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, and they're already posted on the Get Involved or Get Engaged website of the city under the Santa 5K race.
So why isn't it part of our report?
We just summarized it for you.
Are there any further questions of staff?
I'll move the report, Madam Chair.
Okay, so the report has been moved.
And I'll just make a couple comments, if I may. And I appreciate all the discussion we've had, and I appreciate all the effort the staff has put into listening to people from so many different viewpoints, and recognizing we have a great downtown that so many people love to be in, whether you have a store here, a business, any sort of business here, whether you want to congregate in the downtown or whatever you want to do. There's something for everybody in our downtown. And this particular race has been going on for 19 years out of 20 in December. And I think ideally it should continue in December. And I would suggest that the organizer has made good efforts to cooperate and try to minimize the impact on the roads going forward, recognizing that the start time would be prior to 9 a.m. in the future, allowing everything to get back to normal by 10:30 or 11 o'clock. So downtowns are for everybody, and this is typical of downtowns. We have a conflict of different perspectives, but I think we can all get along, and we can continue on with the Santa 5K happening in December.
Thank you for that. Are there further comments? Councillor Mead-Ward.
I'm going to put a referral motion on the floor. I do believe that this council, given the changes that will occur less than 1 month from now, in the composition of council, that this council should not be making a permanent decision on this race, given the level of anxiety that is still out there from among our businesses, and the fact that the businesses have reached out on multiple occasions to meet with the race organizer and provide some of the information that we talked about earlier with the delegation and have been unsuccessful. That needs to happen before this is set in stone. So I'm asking for support for this to be referred to the next council. Their date in 2019, we have some time to get that right in December, January.
So we have a referral motion on the floor. Councillor Taylor.
Through you, have a question of the clerk in response to the referral motion. With the changeover to the new council in December the 3rd, is this truly written in stone, or can the incoming council, without being a reconsideration, because it's a new council, deal with it in their own way?
This, if council wishes to accept the referral, then it can be dealt with by the new term of council. Or by the new...
That wasn't the question.
That's not the question.
Change it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any further comments on the referral? Councillor Dennison?
I think we've dragged this out long enough, and I think the consensus is that if the new council decides they want to change it, they can. But in the meantime, we shouldn't be dragging it out forever and a day. It was a lengthy meeting, as we already heard, 2.5 hours of video in July, and you know, I think everybody has to get on with life. The staff have other projects on their tables too. And if the new council wants to change that decision, they're allowed to.
Any further comments on the referral? Councillor Sharman.
Thank you very much. I take advice with respect to the new council's ability to change this if they wish. I do believe that we've done a lot of work on this over the years, and specifically this year. And I believe the numbers we've got on page 3, you know, are sufficiently significant. So notwithstanding that some of them may be duplicated, the expectation is that that wouldn't be, that these are material results, and they seem to be in support of what the staff is recommending. So I'm okay with this now, and as a part of the new council, I'll look forward to having any further discussions on it.
So we're going to vote on the referral. All in favor of the referral? And that does not carry. So now we'll vote on the original motion. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you.